I was on deck, right? So I was batting 8-hole behind Salvy. You know how in the playoffs you go over, everybody in the bullpen, every starter, every guy in the position players. Like it's like an hour and a half of just everybody you want to go over as far as the other team. And I remember Familia, we never talked about his quick pitch, and I'm on deck and he quick pitched Salvy. So I turn around to Dale Swain, who was our hitting coach at the time, and I was like, was that a quick pitch? And Dale was like, yeah, be ready for it. So I don't know if I do it as much as I think I do it, but like when I'm in the box, I call it the Joey Votto when he stands in the box and he doesn't get out and he poses, because I wanted to be ready for that quick pitch. So I was like, I'm going to get locked in. I'm not going to get out. I'm going to be ready for that quick pitch. And sure, 2-1 pitch, he did the quick pitch and just threw it right down the middle. So that's how that kind of all came about.
I got the chills just thinking about it right now, dude. It's so good.
I know, dude.
It's so
I need to be
good,
more
man.
locked in because I did not see the quick pitch to Salvy. I thought it was the first pitch.
It's our guy. Oh, no.
I was ready to jump off something head first.
And you got Familia. He's got the power sinker that just dives off the table.
There's a sinker. It wasn't a quick pitch, right?
Get the camera off me. We get it. I made an error. Get it back to the at bat. Let's go.
You got a great haircut.
That's because you never make an error. So that's like why they're showing it to you.
It was all heaters too, right? Sinker, sinker, sinker. Familia is the man, by the way. I got to play with him in Boston. What a great dude.
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a 1-1 count.
It was 1-1. See, you weren't locked in either.
So hey, that's probably pitch. And you talk about that in Kaufman Stadium. That was probably my best bullet. And I was running out of the box. I had no idea it was gone.
It went over the third tier.
So people ask me about this. I don't remember rounding the bases, like at all. Like I was just adrenaline crazy. I remember crossing home plate, hitting my chest, and then coming into the dugout and just celebrating with you guys. But the coolest thing was, watch towards the end. I think you were the last guy I celebrate with, and it was just kind of
I was like, just give me a hug, dude. Just give me a hug. Digging at home. We're live, buddy. Hey, listen, we're live. We got Alex Gordo. To this day, the only person to ever turn down coming on Digging Deep. Just kidding. Listen, didn't work out in spring, so here's what we got. We got Digging at Home now. We're going to bring some good content, some of our buddies, some of our past teammates, some of the guys throughout the league, and we're going to do it remotely at home. And there's no person better to start out with than the guy that Moosey and I looked up to our whole entire careers, and to this day off the field as well, than Alexander the Greatest, Alex Gordon.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. Sorry we couldn't do this in person, but this is kind of how we're going to make it work.
And we're doing it next spring. I'm pretty sure we'll be out in Arizona at some point next time. But yeah, the kids are no joke, Gordo. That's the real game changer, huh, buddy?
Absolutely. So I was busy when I was playing, but then when I retired, somehow I became more busy, just running kids, carpool, everything, coaching. I used to coach all three sports, football, basketball, and baseball. And I was like, this is too much. Like I was supposed to be retired, finding hobbies, enjoying my life a little bit. So now I'm just baseball. So it's great. It's a good busy to have right now, but the kids are everything. Yep.
Yeah. Once I stopped playing, I became a chauffeur. I'm a coach. I got on my hat. We just had football practice yesterday, Gordo. And I'm telling you right now, the Malibu Raiders are going to be the most well-conditioned football team at the 7 and under age bracket, because we run and touch the post. We touch the post, buddy, more than anybody in the league.
I mean, Moose, you're rocking what, 4, 5, 6 kids now? How many you got?
I got 4, but our house is a playground. Apparently, we just have 7, 9 kids at the house all day. It's insane, but it's fun.
Dude, I don't know how you guys did it during the season with kids, because with Jack was born, it was my last year. I had that month or month and a half in Chicago. And dude, the waking up early, I always remember this too. I always remember, I told you this when I last saw you, Gordo, but we were on the back of the plane and we're playing cards. We're like traveling through the night, and Gordo will be back there getting some rest, maybe getting a nap on like a random night. And I'm like, Gordo, come on, man. And he's like, buddy, you don't understand. I got to wake up. I got to take Max Man to school tomorrow. These mornings, man, they're no joke. And I'm telling you, the day games, it wasn't bad when I was in Chicago, because you wake up early, you go to the field. But from 6 o'clock in the morning all the way to 1 p.m. to leave to the field, felt like a whole day within itself. I don't know how the hell you guys did that.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys ever remember. I mean, it was always hard no matter where you went, because the kids' schedule was always early. And we were like Nighthawks when we played, especially without the pitch clock. Games are going to like 11:30. You'd have to wake up and take the kids to school at like 7. But whenever we went to LA to play the Angels, I'll never forget this. My family would always come out because they'd love to go to Disneyland. And I'm like, this is the last thing I want to do, right? At like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning after playing all night. So there's a picture of me on the floor at Angel Stadium by my locker, and my back is just completely drenched with sweat because I was just at Disneyland when it was hot and just grinding all day, and somehow I had to make it work when I showed up to the field. So
the game before the game, it's a grind.
I remember you guys always talking about that Disney trip every time we went to Anaheim.
Yeah, guys, I'm so excited for you guys to come out. This is gonna be fun. And on the back of my head, I'm like, crap.
The best is when you had to. Out. When Gordo would always say, "Hey, Davy, did you get the pack and play?" I'm like, "What the hell's a pack and play?" And now, like, we can't leave without it. Can't leave the house without it. I'm like, "What is this thing you speak of?" And all of a sudden, the pack and play is the first thing in the car everywhere we go. I'm like, oh, can't live without the pack and play.
We're going to talk about Moose and I when we were kids and the stuff you had to deal with. But first, let's talk about Gordo, because I say to this day, the best routine, pregame routine, discipline I've ever seen in my life. I've played with a couple of guys later on in my career, like a Nico Horner, believe it or not, was pretty close. But still, I feel like besides the Disney day, there was maybe one day every other year that you would just randomly be sick and like you would be lying down in front of your locker, same thing. But other than that, I mean, you were doing the same exact thing every single minute of every hour leading up to every day, it felt like. Yeah. So where did the routine, the discipline and all that, where did that start? Was that college? How did that even become a thing for you?
I would say the routine and discipline kind of started in college. You know, my dream growing up was always to be a Major League Baseball player. And then the draft came, and I was like really excited to get drafted. I found out later that my parents were telling every scout that he was going to go to college, and I didn't know this. So when which well ended out it turned out to be a good thing, but at the time I never got drafted, so I was really, just frustrated, upset, kind of a little sad, and then went to college, and I just made a promise then, I'm going to do everything I can in college, whether that's eating right, sleeping right, being the hardest working guy in the gym, at the field, everything. And that's kind of where it started with Nebraska. And they had all the tools, information that I needed to become like that. And then it just kind of got worse and worse as I got older. But you guys know it. I mean, we're all different between our routines. I found out what worked for me and what made me successful, and I stuck with it, whether I had a good day at the field or a bad day on the field. I knew what I wanted, and that kind of helped my mindset as far as, it didn't matter what happened in the game because I knew I prepared as much as I could and did everything I needed to do to be ready for the game. So I wasn't really worried about results oriented more than just being prepared more than anything. So you kind of deal with that a little bit when you have the success and the failures built into that, and you start learning and getting more wiser and everything like that. So it kind of just worked over time, and I just learned to stuck with it.
Yeah, it was crazy. They got rid of all the clocks in the clubhouse, and you just watched what Gordo was doing, and you knew what time it was. So, but that's what's awesome, like
epic
that your parents told all the scouts that, and it made you want it even more. And some kids could have gone the other way, but you wanted that. You wanted to be a Major League Baseball player. Found out later in your life that your parents said that, but the dedication that you showed to go and I'm not letting anything get in my way. This is what I want to do. It's incredible, man. It just speaks to your character and your leadership now, is because you showed me and Haas how to do things. And
definitely,
maybe me and Haas should have taken a little bit more advice and followed your lead a tad more. But dude, it was awesome, man. Watching you work every day and seeing your preparation. That's 90% of the battle in Major League Baseball.
It is, and I feel like so. As my whole career, the beginning of my career, a new thing was lifting weights. All guys would go in the off season, lift weights, get stronger. And then 3-4 years in, it became, all right, now you got to eat healthy and lift weights and kind of combine. So that's how your program keeps getting better and better. And now today, I would say like the last year I played to even now, a lot of it now is the mental side. A lot of these guys, these players, they have mental coaches, mental skills, process and development type thing. What I've always said, the most impressive thing for me is when a player can overcome struggles in the big leagues, because when you struggle in the big leagues, it is every single day. You are there with a coach, with somebody at a computer, somebody looking something up, and you're doing stuff every day to try and reset and get back, whether it's mechanically, mentally, whatever that is. One of the many things that we've admired about you was your mental game. I mean, you just, whether it was a Familia homer or you're going through an 0 for 20, it's just right here. So was it just going through that 1 year where you struggled, then you come and have a great year, sign an extension? Was it maybe Max Man's board, you're a father now, and then you kind of put stuff in perspective? But the mental game, I've never seen you really lose that character. How was that so strong?
I would say, first of all, my parents were a large part of that. The one thing I always had that I felt like maybe was a little bit more, and I took a lot of pride in it, was my work ethic. And I got that from my parents. And I was always, every team I played on, every person I played against, I wanted to be the hardest working guy, on the field, on that team, whatever it was. And, that really gave me confidence throughout my career. And then, I always had success. I'm not like trying to brag or anything like that, but I was, high school player of the year.
Humble brag.
Humble brag. I went to college. I was college player of the year. I was minor league player of the year. Then I came to the Royals and, did okay my first couple of years. And then I was dealt with a lot of adversity. And you guys saw it because you guys were in the minors. And it was one of the cool things that I kind of look back now and, because I got to come down and see what everybody was talking about. I was in the big leagues grinding. We were losing 100 games. Everyone was talking about Hosmer, Moustakas, Salvy. And, I understood the hype, but I don't know if I believed it until I went down and actually saw you guys play. So looking back on it now, that was really cool. I know this is separate than what you were talking about, but it was something that maybe kind of lit a spark in me a little bit back in the time, because I was going through some struggles. And I was like, these guys are really good. The Royals are going to be good here in a little bit because I see it. I need to get back to where I need to get back to be with these guys. At the same time, but dealt with injuries in 2009 with my hip surgery. Then 2010 came, broke my thumb in the first game in spring training. So basically I wasn't on the field. I wasn't doing anything. And then when I did come back, I really struggled, especially at third base. And, I remember having the meeting in Tampa Bay, and Dayton called me in, and, he referenced guys like Ryan Braun, who made the transition from, third base to left field. And funny story about this, I'm going to kind of backtrack a little bit. In 2007, so I was minor league player of the year at third. Mark Tien, if you guys remember him, he was the player of the year for the Royals at third base. And so in spring training, they get to spring training. They're like, who we're going to keep at third base, who we're going to move to the outfield. Now, if you ever look at my stats back at Nebraska or whatever, I was an okay defensive third baseman. No one really paid attention to it really, because I raked and I had good stats.
Raking cures everything.
But, I led our team every year in errors. So back in 2007, I was a rookie. I didn't want to say anything, but in the back of my head, I'm like, please move me to the outfield. Please move me to the outfield.
Really? I didn't know you wanted to do that.
Yeah, I played a little bit in high school because my freshman year in high school, to play on the senior team, the varsity team, my brother was the third baseman. So the only way I could play was either take my brother's spot at third, which I wasn't going to do, or move to left field, which is what I did. So I actually had experience in the outfield. And I loved it. So in 2007, I'm like, please move to the outfield. And being a rookie, you don't want to say anything. And they kept me at third. The rest is history. 2010, they called me in the office after struggling, injuries, whatnot. They're like, hey, we think you can make this transition like Ryan Braun, some of these other guys did. And plus, we had this young kid named Mike Moustakas who's pretty good.
Oh.
And, I saw him play, and I saw him
pretty good.
He was a lot better than what I was. So I understood. I was like, yeah, Moose is really good. And I kind of looked at it. I didn't complain at all. I know a lot of guys in those situations might have complaints, make excuses or whatnot, but I had a really good relationship with Dayton Moore, and I was like, Dayton, I'm sorry for where I'm at right now. I'm going to get back as soon as possible and help this team out because I saw you guys and I wanted to be a part of it. So I went down. They're like, take 3 or 4 days off. go down to the minor leagues. I was like, no, I'm going down right now. Rusty Kuntz came with me, and we went down and started working. The first day we were out there for early work, and I was locked in. I was ready to go. I wanted to get back. And
was I in AAA at that point with you?
You might have been, yeah.
I think I was, yeah. I don't think you talked to me that whole time.
The truth is coming out.
No.
Truth's coming out.
If I didn't talk to you, it was probably because I was locked in working. It wasn't because
I was just kidding. I was
pissed or anything like that. But
dude, one of the most baller things I've ever seen, and I hope Moose or Steph, shout out to Steph Moose, I hope she has this video, but it was when Moose caught his 10 years of service time, and we all sent our little video saying, congratulations, Moose, 10 years, whatever. And you did it from, I don't know if it was that room, it looked like your office. And you're like, yeah, man, you were the one that kicked me out of third and a left. And then you start flashing around all your gold gloves. And you're like, I guess it worked out all right.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
I just want to thank you for being such a stud at third base and kicking me out to the outfield during my career. I would say I think it worked out for everybody.
Oh, that was the best, dude. I hope we have some control.
I got it somewhere. I'll have Steph send it.
We always joke about it because Moose is like, you owe me one of those gold gloves because I
just
want
one.
Too, but
no, you want them yourself. I just helped you get to left field.
Yeah,
and then who would have thought? Who would have thought we would have ran into each other in Chicago and ended each other's seasons?
But
that's right. There's better times than that. So I do also another quick story. That same year, 2010, when you hurt your hand, we left. You stayed in extended spring training for like another week. I think a bunch of us did, Moose, because we were like kind of putting together the lineup of what that extended spring training team looked like, and we were loaded.
Yeah, but, it was a good team.
Yeah, Gordo and I were flying out to Myrtle Beach because you were going to do your rehab there, and I was going to High A. And I remember you went up to at the airport. You tried to upgrade me to first class, and it was full. But just the thought of you doing that, I was like, damn, that is baller, man. Like when you get to the big leagues, you do shit like that. That's cool as shit. Right. So like that was something I always looked up to. And then as an older player, you said something earlier, and I know Moosey can comment on this. Isn't it crazy how as an older player, younger player, you're just so worried about results and getting 2 for 3, 2 for 4, a couple slug, couple hits, whatever. But you said as an older player, all you were worried about was getting your routine in. If you did your routine, then you trust the results are going to come over the long period of time. Mooser, how hard is that to actually learn as a baseball player to play it out long run instead of day to day?
Yeah, I remember in 14, I started off the season 0 for 22, and I got a hit. Then I went 1 for 43, and I had already given away 43 at-bats out of, 500, 600 at-bats. But what you don't realize is, like, you have 450 more at-bats. Like, you can make up ground. It's not going to happen overnight. Like, and I wish I would have learned that earlier. Watching Gordo, watching guys go 0 for 4, 0 for 7, 0 for 10, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's a hot streak and you ride it out. But the great players in baseball don't worry about what happened, yesterday or the day before. And just like, Gordo's a perfect example. It's just like this the whole time. Didn't matter what was going on. Didn't matter 0 for 4, 0 for 10, 0 for 12. Guy just kept working, kept grinding, and never deviated from his routine, which was an incredible attribute that, not only I and Haas, but everybody on our team always looked up to you just because, you weren't the most vocal person in the clubhouse, but you were definitely our leader. And if you were doing something, we knew that it was probably the right thing to do. We should probably be doing that exact same thing.
Guy couldn't get a word in because Dyson's in the clubhouse and he's in the outfield shed and compete with him. So I understand it. I completely understand it.
Yeah.
It's almost like, too, with basketball players, you see like they miss a shot and they're head down, just sprinting back on defense. So like they got to filter it out super quick. But like starting all the way over now, Gordo, to pick your brain even more, Moose is just making playbook or making plays on his Playmaker app, Playbook, whatever that was. How do you then like start over this whole process with, say, Max Man, say coaching his kid or his team, the kids on his team? Like, how do you then reset your mindset from a big league level to now, okay, I got to remember these are kids. I got to start from square one, basically. Like, how do you reset all that?
I think it's really good to have coaches like myself, you guys that have been through what we've been through, the ups and downs, and then be able to coach kids and realize how hard this game actually was. Because one of the first things I noticed when I started coaching Max's teams and just walking around the ballparks and everything was seeing coaches, seeing parents yell at their kids over making like an error or something like that. And I'm just in the back of my head and was like, were you that good at this age? And these kids are just defeated on the field. And it just drove me absolutely bananas. And, after, when I retired, after seeing all this around, Kansas City and youth baseball, I was like, I need to get involved as much as I can because this is out of control. And luckily I had some good group of peoples with the Kansas City Royals, and we have an organization called Team KC that's funded by the Kansas City Royals that's really great, but they focus on, more of the mental side development, playing the game the right way and stuff like that. So that's what we're trying to, you see a lot of this, throughout the country as far as how parents treat their kids and how much pressure they put on them. And I think when you've been through all that we've been through, you can really sit back and realize that there's more to it than just results and, wanting to win at any cost and stuff like that. So I really try to push that with the kids, work hard, practice hard, have fun, but don't worry about the results. We're not going to get on you about that kind of stuff. We're going to get after it, but in the right way.
I love that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And what better guy to look up to now in Kansas City than Bobby Witt? I mean, now that I think about it, you and Bobby Witt, personality wise, are very similar. So now, I mean, these kids all throughout Kansas City, Missouri, I mean, even on the Kansas side, they got a superstar over there.
Yeah. I mean, so Bobby Witt, I'll tell you the story about Bobby. Knew this kid was good, drafted first pick, whatever. Then we hit COVID. And so we're all just stranded. And then spring training starts back up, but we can't go to Arizona. Everyone comes to Kauffman Stadium to do like a mini spring training. And Bobby Witt's like, I think maybe even half a year, maybe not even that. And he's involved in all this. And we're scrimmaging and everything. I'm in left field. And I see this kid hit the ball. And I've never seen a guy run from home to first. I saw Mike Trout do it with the Angels, and it was just a blur going down to first base. And then I saw Bobby Witt, and I was like, that's the same kind of guy. So I saw the talent, and I was like, this kid is the best player at 19 with all these people here at Kauffman Stadium this whole spring training. And I was like, this kid's going to be special. And then I got to meet him and realize what kind of a person he was: humble, hardworking, great kid. Treats everybody great. So I knew this kid was going to be something special. And I mean, the past 3 years to watch this kid do what he's done, it's unbelievable. I mean,
it's incredible.
My kids always ask like, hey, can I buy this jersey? And I kind of know who the guy is. And I'm like, no, you can't buy that jersey. So I'm like, so I know the guys that I want to get, I'm not going to say who they are or anything, but I'm like, please get Bobby Witt's jersey. This is a kid or a player that you need to look up to. You need to resemble how he plays, how he acts, and everything like that. Because, I mean, I know the Royals signed him to a 10-year, 200. They got to steal. This kid is unbelievable. And if you can build a team around a kid like this, I mean, you're golden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, he's going to be the face of baseball with everything you just said. The way he works, the way he treats people. There's no better role model for kids to look up to. And my son, I mean, we're in California, and he's like, Bobby Witt's my favorite player. And I'm like, dude, that's perfect. Like, there's no better human, no better person to look up to than a kid like that. And it just so happens he's great at baseball. Yeah.
And the game's not this easy. Like,
no.
I tell my boys, I'm like, this is unheard of what he's doing these past 3 years. Like, it's crazy what he's doing. He's making it look too easy, and it's not.
Yeah, especially at Kauffman Stadium. We all know how hard it is to hit homers out of there.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's just popping them out of there left and right, left, center, where the water is. We didn't know where water was.
I was from 2007 to 2020 about how far the fences were. I was like, hey, this is going to be the year they're going to move the fences in a little bit to give us some credit. What'd they do? They built the wall higher and maybe a little bit farther back. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, this is terrible.
Dude, have you seen some of the analytical stuff that says Kauffman Stadium is up top tier as a hitter's park? And I'm like, how? I think the only reason why is because a guy like Bobby, if he hits a ball down the line, he can stretch a single into a double, and maybe that ends up adding to the OPS and a lot more triples maybe. But like, as far as homers, there is no chance.
I'll tell you this, but so I came up kind of a home run hitter type guy. I was big and strong, and there was from 2007 to 2008, there was like maybe 20, 30 balls I thought I hit gone. Homers guaranteed that they caught at the warning track. And at a certain point, I was like, I got to start thinking gap to gap line drives. Like this is this is terrible. So it actually made me change my approach a little bit as far as mentality, as far as hitting line drives, right center, left center.
Yeah. You know, what's funny is you can't really pimp home runs in Kauffman. Like everyone at home would always ask me, they're like, why do you run so hard to first base on a home run? It's like, cause I don't know if it's going out, dude. Like I've hit balls, I've blasted balls, and guys have caught it 20 feet in front of the warning track, and you're just left with nothing. But to another thing about Kauffman's outfield too, Gordo, is we got spoiled, right, Haas? Like we had Gordo in left, Lolo in center, and then at times it was Dice, Paulo Orlando, you know, Rios. Our outfield was insane. It was insane. Yeah. So, and even Nori was out there. It was insane. So we never saw balls fall or balls get hit into the gaps because you guys were tracking everything down. It was like, it was incredible how lucky we were to watch you guys out there every single day.
It was a fun. With Rusty. Rusty was the genius behind all of our defense in the outfield for sure. I owe a lot of my credit to, because I told you when I went down, he was there day one, and there was nobody better to work with than Rusty. He said day one, he was like, "You want to get started right now?" I was like, "Yeah, Rusty. Tell me, don't lie to me either. Tell me if I'm looking good. Just I want all the information you got." And sure enough, he did, and it was every day. So I was lucky to have him. But going back to that, the defense in the outfield. One of the coolest things was our defense overall back in those 13, 14, 15. It was incredible. Esky, you, Haas, South. I mean, there was no weakness in our defense, and I think we took a lot of pride in that too. And I think one of the things that kind of helped us or motivated us was the pitchers, right? The tip of the cap. Like I love seeing that. That was better than hitting a home run. Making a great play, seeing Wade, Shields, whoever it was, tipping a cap. I was like, this is awesome because we were trying to do great on defense, great teammates, and that was one of the things that I think really kind of lit a fire under us as far as our defense is watching the pitchers celebrate when we did something great.
Yeah, that was epic. And that's even what I love now about watching this group last year that just made the playoffs in Kansas City. I mean, there was Salvy. We know Salvy. I love Salvy. He's one of my best friends in this game. And when Salvy's happy, when Salvy's mad. I feel like this year, Salvy was on the top step, celebrating every homer. Not that he wasn't the year before, but you can just see how into it he was. And it looks like this group of guys, like they meshed well. They were a team. They were, overachieving, so to speak. Like I remember the one year we won, it was like Piccolo or one of these projections projected us at like 70 something wins. And then we go to the World Series and lose. And then it's like another 78 win season. And we just use that stuff to kind of motivate us within. But this team now, I know you're an assistant, you show up there whenever and do some stuff in the spring, but what exactly are you doing with the team now? And what a great gig. What a great thing you got going on.
Put in a good word.
And what do you see from the squad besides obviously, Bobby Witt Jr., which is the obvious?
Well, you guys all left me in Kansas City, so the only guy in Kansas City left is me.
I stayed. I stayed an extra year.
You're in California, you're in Florida, Locampton, Oklahoma. So when they need favors or anything like that, they're going to call me because I'm right down the street. But after all they did for me in my career, happy to do anything they ask of me. I don't get to go in as much as I'd like. I will tell you that. I told them, someday I might be in there more, but as of right now, like I'm just so involved with my kids and everything, and they come first. And I'll try to do as much as I can with you guys, but with my personality, I got to be all in or nothing, really. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be showing up to the locker room just once every 2 months or something like that and trying to tell these guys what to do or whatnot. But I do like popping in, talking to these guys, sharing some stories or experiences that I have. And you do see that in the locker room. You see these guys that once you meet them, you can tell that they're good, genuine guys, and they played the game the right way. Massey, Isbell, we already talked about Witt, obviously Salvy. We all know about Salvy, but it's a good group, and I love what they've done over the last couple of years, and it should be fun to see them next year too. So.
Mooser, they got him on the George Brett program over there. He's living the good life on the George program, staying in suites. Top golf, top shelf. He's doing it over there, Moose.
Doing it right, as you deserve, buddy. You earned it all, man. You earned it all. Not
just
giving
gotta
up to
figure
you,
out.
buddy.
I got to figure out how to play golf now, so we'll figure that out at some point.
I need to grind on golf. I need to get some lessons. You did all this post career, right, Gordo? You got lessons, golf, the whole deal.
So 2020 after I retired, I was like, right. I was basically 24/7 baseball my whole life. I had no hobbies, nothing. So when I retired, I was like, I got to find something to do. So golf was one of them. I went to Golf Pro, started swinging left-handed. It was like slice, shank, everything. They're like, okay, hold on a second. Grab this club. It was a right-handed club. And sure enough, started swinging it. And it felt really weird because I've never swung that way. And it was right down the middle. They're like, okay, we're going to make you a right-handed golfer. So,
dude, I remember when I went to the driving range with you, and when you talk about Alex Gordon's left-handed baseball swing, it's like a thing of beauty. It's just perfect. It's Griffey-ish. It's beautiful. Griffey. And then he grabbed the club right-handed. I'm just like, oh my God.
I got to get lessons, dude, and I got to lock in, Gordo.
I mean, my handicap is like 18, 20. But there's days after I get done playing, I'm like, am I really a right-handed golfer? Like, I need to go back. Like,
you played nice when we did the 14 golf tournament that you so generously hosted us.
Yeah.
You played nice, man.
That was dope.
You can hit the ball.
We'll get back out in 2015 for sure.
I can't.
I can't wait. I can't wait. The reunion's back. Yes, I can't wait for that.
15's a good year.
It seems like with the Royals, though, it seems like JJ, what he's doing in the front office, I mean, he's just kind of staying the course from how everything was when we were there. He's beefing up the minor league system. He's also competing at the big league level. But this past year, we had our 2014, the ALCS reunion, and we had the big gala night. And you had a lot of great words to say about Dayton Moore, who for me is, I mean, I put Dayton Moore right there next to you as the top two people that I look up to in the game of baseball and the game of life, honestly. So how much did Dayton mean to you, and just speak on his behalf if you can?
He was the perfect leader for us. Like, he treated everybody as a person before a baseball player. And every time, we met or had something to say to each other, in his office or in the clubhouse, he would always ask me, hey, how's everything? How's your family? He really cared about guys off the field more than he did what you were doing on the field. Because he knew if you took care of your home life, if you took care of the life at or outside of baseball, that everything was going to come much easier too with baseball. He was just a good, genuine guy, good character. Everything that growing up you want to be. He kind of showed that. So he was a perfect leader for us, and he was really the guy that kind of led us, and then it fell down to Ned Yost and then fell down to us. So it was really, I gave all the credit to what we did. Obviously he wasn't doing it on the field, but behind the scenes, it was all Dayton Moore. And, I would do anything for that guy. If he called me up right now to, fly somewhere to go help him out, I'd do it in a heartbeat. So I owe a lot of stuff to Dayton. Yeah.
Hell yeah. You still keep in contact with Dayton. We all do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I talked to Dayton, obviously not about baseball anymore, but about life. And it's the same thing. Like, I text Gordo, I still look for advice. I'm 36 now, but there's still a lot I need to learn. And, I text Gordo, I text Dayton, to help me out and to speak on what Dayton did. Dayton just didn't identify great baseball players. He identified great people. And again, it started with him and then the group that he brought in. But then in order to have a successful team like we had, because we didn't have superstars, we didn't have MVPs, we had, us three good baseball players, but it started with Gordo, again, like the character was the most important thing, the work ethic, the determination, the desire, and that trickled down into all the younger guys. But to identify Alex Gordon, this is going to be our guy, and to take us to where we wanted to be, he needed to put, guys like you and Haas into these situations in order for us to succeed.
Yeah. And the biggest thing for me, he's stuck with it. Like, you see nowadays, 1 year doesn't work out. It's a complete refire sale. Get this prospect, get this guy out of here. I mean, we all had years when we had our struggle, and Dayton stuck with it, stuck with us, didn't trade any of us, continued to believe in our process. And it ultimately paid off for all of us, which I think is something that we all kind of have learned from, which is not to be the day-to-day thing like you brought up. It's like, if you're going to acquire a player, or if you're going to do something, even like eating healthy, like, it's not a day-to-day thing. It's a lifestyle. And that's kind of how it's got to be. And I feel like we learned all that stuff from Dayton. And I mean, through the minor league programs he had, through the big league stuff. I love it. So Okay, Gordo, we got some. I know you're not on the internets and don't do that whole deal, but we got some stuff we got to cover. A couple questions. First and foremost, we got to walk through this Familia at bat. It saved my life.
Oh my God!
I thought it was the first pitch. I didn't realize it was the third pitch of the at bat. But
I blacked out.
Oh, we got it.
Yeah,
we got it.
Was it
Let's
1?
go.
Was it 1-1? I thought it was the first pitch.
I think it's 2-1. You might be playing the whole at bat. Okay. So I was on deck, right? So I was batting 8-hole behind Salvy. You know how in the playoffs you go over, everybody in the bullpen, every starter, every guy in the position players. Like it's like an hour and a half of just everybody you want to go over as far as the other team. And I remember Familia, we never talked about his quick pitch, and I'm on deck and he quick pitched Salvy. So I turn around to Dale Swain, who was our hitting coach at the time, and I was like, was that a quick pitch? And Dale was like, yeah, be ready for it. So I don't know if I do it as much as I think I do it, but like when I'm in the box, I call it the Joey Votto when he stands in the box and he doesn't get out and he poses because I wanted to be ready for that quick pitch. So I was like, I'm going to get locked in. I'm not going to get out. I'm going to be ready for that quick pitch. And sure, 2-1 pitch, he did the quick pitch and just threw it right down the middle. So that's how that kind of all came about.
I got the chills just thinking about it right now, dude. It's so good.
I know, dude.
It's so
I need to be
good,
more
man.
locked in because I did not see the quick pitch to Salvy. I thought it was the first pitch.
It's our guy. Oh, no.
I was ready to jump off something head first.
And you got Familia. He's got the power sinker that just dives off the table.
There's a sinker. It wasn't a quick pitch, right?
Get the camera off me. We get it. I made an error. Get it back to the at bat. Let's go.
You got a great haircut.
That's because you never make an error. So that's like why they're showing it
I
to
picked
you.
the wrong time to do it. It was all heaters too, right? Sinker, sinker, sinker. Familia is the man, by the way. I got to play with him in Boston. What a great dude.
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a 1-1 count.
It was 1-1.
1-1.
See, you
Oh
weren't
my
locked
God.
in either.
So hey,
Just
that's
in the quick
probably.
pitch.
And you talk about that conference game. That was probably my best bullet, and I was running out of the box. I had no idea it was gone.
It went over the third tier.
So people ask me about this. I don't remember rounding the bases, like at all. Like I was just adrenaline crazy. I remember crossing home plate, hitting my chest, and then coming into the dugout and just celebrating with you guys. But the coolest thing was. Watch towards the end. I think you were the last guy I celebrate with, and it was just kind of like
I was like, just give me a hug, dude. Give me a hug.
But that's what we did in the 14 and 15. It was about picking each other up, and it was like someone new every game. So it was really cool. But I don't know if you saw it, but yeah, here it is.
Oh my God! Give me a hug.
Yeah,
just give me a hug.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
And thank you so much.
And then who won that game with the walk-off hit?
I got Bartolo. I got Big Sexy in the 14th, baby.
Yeah, you did.
Do it.
God, I could have been the next. I'm not even going to say the name, but it could have been me. All right, Gordo, the year before. Take us. Can we just take the target off of Mike Jersley's back? Game 7.
Yeah.
He should not have sent you, right? Are we all in agreements on that?
100% no. But so I always tell everybody we have like conversation. I like messing with people too sometimes because I get the question asked all the time. I'm like, yeah, they should have sent me. I would have been safe. I would have been out 100%. But if you would think about it, like how cool would it have been to end the World Series on maybe me possibly running over Buster Posey to try to score. And you remember that rule was the Buster Posey rule because he got ran over and broke his ankle. And they were like, okay, you can't truck the catcher anymore because of this. You're hurting our MVP or whatever thing or anything. Wow. And sure enough, if you would have made that throw and I would have been out by 5 feet, there's no doubt in my mind that I would have taken off his head. I love Buster Posey, but like that would have been cool. Out or safe, like that would have been awesome. But Church, right call.
He blew it. The target's back on. I'd never thought about that, dude.
Church, you blew it.
Come on, man. Yeah, but you look at that play, like one of the best shortstops. One of the best shortstops in baseball has the ball at the outfield or at the infield cut, and you're just rounding third base. Like it's not looking good.
If you watch the game earlier, I think my first at bat, I hit a ball to right center, scores Billy all the way from first somehow. I don't know how, but he scored. But Brandon Crawford was in right center, even farther out, and made a bullet throw, one hop, perfect to Buster Posey. So you speak of Crawford, like he would have made a good throw for sure.
Yeah.
He's a baller, dude. Crawford is a stone cold killer.
What about the absolute zoo out in left center field for that even to take place? I'd go back and rewatch it. I mean, they're kicking it. They're throwing stuff everywhere, trying to pick up the ball.
White.
I'm like, I'm running and I'm in full panic mode because I'm like ninth inning, 2 outs. I can't get thrown out. But like at the same time, I'm like, what the hell is going on out there?
Dude, it was a disaster out there.
I guess I got to keep going. And then sure enough,
dude, it's like that time where you miss a ground ball in the field and you try and get the ball and like your hand's just shaking. You have to stop. Mm-hmm. I feel like, was it Greg White? He was in center. I forget it was in left, but they couldn't pick the ball up, literally.
Yeah, he kicked it. So it went past Blanco, and then I was kind of lost in where the ball was because we have those screens on the fences. So we kind of get lost where their ball is. So I'm like, all right, should I go to second? Should I not? I go to second. And all of a sudden I see the left fielder who I'm drawing blank on his name. He's got a good arm, but he kicks the ball. I'm just like, what is going on? And I'm like, if you watch me run, I'm like looking at third, looking at left field, looking at third, couldn't believe what was going on. So it's just
and all this is happening.
Plays just
confused.
Crazy.
Game 7 of the World Series is all going down. Here we go.
You're so right about the ending, though. Damn it, that would have been a sick ending.
It would have been
either
awesome.
way. Okay, last one. And this one is for the fans of Kansas City. They want to know if you remember your debut against the Red Sox. Do you remember the opening, or not the opening of the day? You remember the lineup, starting lineup?
De Jesus was leading off. Gruzelanek was second.
Yeah.
Was it Emil Brown? Or was he either 3 or 4?
You mentioned this guy earlier.
Oh, Tien. Tien was 3. 4, I can't remember, but I knew I was batting 5-hole.
Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers hug.
Sweeney.
Sween Dog. Yeah.
Play
with Sween Dog?
Yeah. Sweeney was my guy in 2007. Like I came up, like I passed AA, I passed AAA from AA to the big leagues. And I'll tell you, going back to this day, I probably should have went to AAA because I was not ready at the time. And Sweeney took me under his wing. He was like, hey, put his locker next to mine. And he took care of me 24/7 in the big league. That's my guy in 2007.
He's the man, dude.
So
Sweeney's man. He came on Digging Deep in Arizona, which we are getting you in spring, like I said. But, dude, he gave us a couple MJ stories, some stories from his, fatherhood, Little League coach. He's the man, dude. I love Sweeney.
Nicest guy you'll ever meet.
Yes.
Ever.
And I'm like, Mike, just one time tell me to shut up. Just one time tell me to shut up.
Hey, Sween Dog charged the mound, dude, when he was with the Phillies. He's got that dog in him. You better believe it.
Yeah.
I know he does.
When those lights turn on, it's a different animal.
Yep.
I know Tony Pena was my guy at shortstop because we were both rookies. I think he was batting 9-hole. I'm not going to try. I don't know if I want to go over everybody else. Buck starting?
Yep, he was catching. Now you just got first and left field. And I feel like these guys platoon.
Ross Globe.
Yep. No. He was in left.
Globe, one of my favorites. Yeah. So I'm missing who? Right? No, that was Tien.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it. First base.
First
base. That was Ross Globe.
No, he was playing left.
He was playing left. Ryan Schilling?
Ryan Schilling. Wow. Yeah, dude, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Who'd you face?
Then you guys were going up against Curt Schilling.
There we go.
Curt Schilling, my first at bat, right?
You had to remember that.
They're like, this guy's the next George Brett, which I wasn't, but played third base, kind of looked like him a little bit. I come up first inning, bases loaded against Curt Schilling. I'm just like pissing my pants, like, oh my God, this is crazy. So I ended up getting, I get a 3-2 count, and I'm like 3-2 count, bases loaded. He's got to come with me fastballs. And sure enough, he did. Fouled it off. I think fouled off 2 fastballs, and knowing Curt Schilling, what do you think is going to come next?
Liddy.
The splitty. You got me with the splitty. And so I got a standing ovation going to the plate, and then I struck out bases loaded, standing ovation going back to the dugout. I'm like, oh, this is pretty easy.
This is fun.
I can do no wrong here.
Yeah.
This is great.
Right?
Oh, man. I love that.
This is great.
Speaking of George, you ever shit yourself, Gordo?
I almost did. Well, hey, so.
Almost did.
Oh, here we go.
Me and George.
Baby.
Me and George. We always talk about this story. So back in the day, I was drafted number 2. I think Justin Upton was number 1. It's a different process. Like, it took forever. I think it took me 2 or 3 months to sign my contract, but we were waiting to Justin Upton to sign. So I could.
This is 05, right?
05. So I could fall off.
Loaded class.
So they're like, hey, come off to Kauffman Stadium, take BP. I didn't take BP. I could tell you more about that story later, but I injured myself, and that's why I didn't take BP. I don't think the Royals knew about that, but anyways.
I remember that one.
Yeah, we're done with it now.
We got that bonus.
So I come in, and I grew up in Nebraska. My team was Kansas City. We loved George Brett. My younger brother's named Brett after George Brett, so like he was our idol. So they're like, okay, like, how's the contract going? Oh, it's fine. He's like, go back to the coach's office. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, just go back to the coach's office. So they put me in the coach's office. I walk in, George Brett is at a table by himself right there, and they lock the door on me. And basically it was George's way of, like, you know how George is. Like, doesn't hold anything back. Like, hey, you need to sign right now, blah, blah, blah. And I am shitting my pants at the time.
Yes.
I'm just
ambush.
like, I don't say a word. I'm like, okay, George, what do you say? Like, I'll sign right now. Give me the papers, please. But we look back on it now, and it's pretty funny. But it was crazy at the time.
Oh my God! I tell you what, I wish I had a cool George story like that about trying to convince me to sign, but I also am happy I didn't. Because Moose, remember the fake phone calls and all that?
Oh yeah, I got it.
Or his buddy call you.
Those. Yeah, I got a couple of those, and then I got a good story. You know, when I showed up, you know, I got drafted second as well, and I showed up to Coffin for batting practice, and I meet Gordo for the first time, and he looks at me. We're at shortstop. I'll never forget this because I got drafted as shortstop, and I'm sitting there. I'm scared to death. You know, I'm around all these grown men. Gordo's up there, and I look at Gordo, and he's like, "They gave you the Alex Gordon deal, huh?" I'm like, I think so, man. I'm so scared right now. Please don't talk to me. Please don't say anything stupid. Like, and I'm looking at Alex Gordon. I'm this 18-year-old little punk, and I'm looking at Gordo. I'm like, this is what a major leaguer's supposed to look like. I got a long way to go. And another funny story. When I got called
the same
up,
deal though. I think exact same deal.
We did. When I got called up, the airline lost my bats. So I didn't have my bats to start my career in the big leagues. I had to borrow one of Gordo's bats because it was the same type of bat. And so my first hit in the big leagues was with
yeah,
a G174.
G174, baby.
My first hit in the big leagues was with Alex Gordon's bat, and shocker, it snapped in half, Gordo.
Snapped in half, dude.
Snapped in half.
Led the league in broken bats every year somehow, but those broken bats, it was always a hit, right? It was always like a little duck fart that dropped in the outfield.
It was a knock.
So
Dodge Soldier led the league in hit by pitches. I remember when Andrew Miller hit you in the neck, and then Dale was telling me to see the slider, see it up and in. I'm like, dude, this guy just got hit in the neck, and I'm supposed to stay in on that?
97
into
the neck, and then after that they started making the face guard, right? And I for some reason I couldn't do the face guards. I don't know if I was too old fashioned, but like it always bothered me. But next time I faced Andrew Miller after that, I was like, hey, somebody lefty with the face guard, give it to me. And I went up to home plate with the face guard. I was like, I don't want to face this guy at all.
Yeah. Dude, I switched to the face guard full time like the last 3-4 years because these dudes there's way too many balls going behind people's heads. So I was like, I can't do that.
I'm throwing too hard. Yeah.
Gordo, you're the man, buddy. You know we love you. We'll be out in spring training. We'll be out in Kansas City again in May, I believe, at some point. Sorry, Dabby, I'm probably not supposed to be saying this, but the 2015 reunion is going to happen at some point in time. Big slicks going on, so I'm sure we'll be seeing each other a lot. We're going to get that Digging Deep episode in. Gordo, we love you, buddy. You're the man. Thanks for always being the man, and you're the best, buddy.
Love you, Gordo. You're the best.
Always good to hear from you guys. Love you.